What's going on Monday, May 25th, 2026? Ken Arzone talking baseball, promoting a book, Yearly Leaders of Every Batting Category. I've covered in this book so far on my YouTube channel 7 chapters. I have covered home runs, the top 5 baseball players in history, making the list every season, the top 5 in home runs. That was chapter 1. Then I did chapter 2, batting average, chapter 3, runs scored, chapter 4, runs batted in, chapter 5, triples, chapter 6, doubles, chapter 7, singles. I've covered all those offensive categories from 1871 to 2025. Each season, the top 5 baseball players in every season in these offensive categories, the top 5. Chapter 8, total bases. Who are the top 5 baseball players in history making the list in each season in total bases? So I've got this new set of videos. Let's start with 1871 and let's go decade by decade, looking at total bases in a season. The top 5. 1871, Levi Merrill, 91 total bases. Not very many. Why? They're only playing 50, 60 games a year in the 1870s. Then it starts to pick up 1880s, 90s. They start playing 80, 90, 100 games. After the turn of the century, they get up to 120 games, 130, 154 game season. And then presently in today's age, they're playing 162 games. So the more games, the more total bases. Levi Merrill, 91 total bases. Ross Barnes, 91. Cal McVeigh, 85. Lib Pike, 85. Steve King, 79. 1871 season. 1872, how about this? Ross Barnes, 134 total bases. Lib Pike, 131. George Wright, 120. Dave Egler, 117. George Hall, 116. 1873, Ross Barnes, third time in a row, 197 total bases. George Wright, 165. Deacon White, 158. Lib Pike, 133. Jim O'Rourke, 126. 1874, Cal McVeigh, 165. Jim O'Rourke, 150. George Wright, 149. Al Spalding, 134. Deacon White, 134. 1875 season. Cal McVeigh, 201. How about that? Third time for Cal McVeigh, and he has the highest season total so far, 201 total bases. George Wright, 176. Ross Barnes for the fourth time, 174. Deacon White, 168. Andy Leonard, 156. 1876 season. Ross Barnes, fifth time, top 5. 190 total bases. George Hall, 146. Camp Hansen, 139. Paul Hines, 134. George Wright, 133. 1877, Deacon White, 145. Cal McVeigh, 121. George Hall, 118. Jim O'Rourke, 118. John Cassidy, 115. 1878 season. Tom York, Paul Hines, Joe Start, 125 total bases. Orator Shafter, 121. Dick Hyham, 117. 1879, Paul Hines, third time, 197. Charlie Jones, 181. King Kelly, 170. Jim O'Rourke, 166. John O'Rourke, 165. So in the 1870s, they're only playing 60, 70, 80 games at the most, maybe. Who stood out? Ross Barnes, 5 times in the 1870s, made the top 5. Ross Barnes. Interesting guy. Not in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Looks like Lib Pike had a couple. George Wright a couple. Deacon White, he's Hall of Fame. Couple. Jim O'Rourke a couple. Cal McVeigh. So the 1870s, give it to Ross Barnes, Cal McVeigh. Guess you could say Jim O'Rourke. Those guys. Total bases in a season. All right, next video, the 1880s. So far, the high is 201 total bases. Let's see which ball player in the 1880s surpasses that amount. Okay? And we'll do the top 5 in total bases every decade from 1870s to 2025. It'll be a labor of love. Let's see which ball players excel in total bases. I'm out.